This podcast contains potentially adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly sexual context. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the literary briefs edition, which is rapid fire, which we didn't tell our guests before we started recording. So that makes it fun. Yay! Don't forget to like and subscribe and review us. We love it. And of course, if you have an author or you are an author, if you have an author you would like to be on the show or you are an author, this is what happens after I've been drinking and I try to do the video. You can email us at drinkingwithauthors@gmail.com. We will hunt them down and get them on here, or you can join us. Our sponsor today is Skunk Brothers Spirits. DWA10 is the coupon code. I'll remember. I have a postie that tells me all this stuff so that I don't forget it. Okay, so my amazing co-host today is Danielle Orsino, who is completely dressed up. And if you're not watching this YouTube, you need to do that. She looks like a fairy queen. It's amazing. There are horns. It's pretty awesome. And our amazing guest today is Julian Vaca. Woo! Okay, you ready, Julian, for rapid fire question? Oh, we gotta talk about what we're drinking. I'm doing so well.
You see, you're gone.
Okay, so I have the last, which is probably a good thing, of my sangria that has raspberries and blueberries floating in it. Dun dun dun.
So fancy.
What are you drinking, Danielle?
I have Barefoot Red Moscato in my unicorn goblet.
I need a unicorn.
I am the fairy queen.
So my glass here is actually plastic. I'm not allowed to have glass wine glasses because I'm very
for obvious
reasons.
Also,
you see this is unstemmed because I am clumsy as fuck. Yes, that's gorgeous. That's absolutely beautiful. I don't think I can break that because it's metal. That is so gorgeous. Okay, Julian,
I gotta. Yeah, real quick though, I gotta say, Danielle, what's great about the armchair that you're sitting in with the behind you, that, gosh, I don't know, what is that, a divider or whatever? It makes it look like you're in a throne.
Exactly. You see, you get the feel, you get the vibe here.
It's incredible. I just put that together. So I'm drinking a Memphis-based. It's from a Memphis-based brewery called Wiseacre. It's called Tiny Bomb. And it's a nice, refreshing, crisp Pilsner. And so since it's a scorching summer day here in Nashville, it just felt very appropriate.
Very cool.
There you go.
I love it. Okay, here's your first question. What is your favorite book of all time?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Dang it. Goblet of Fire, the fourth book in the Harry Potter series, I think, because I was very young when I read it, and the twists, plural twists at the end, blew my mind as a young reader. I remember just not seeing any of it coming. I won't get into the spoilers because I'm sure there's one or two listeners who maybe haven't read it. Oh, well, there you go. So, but yes, it's the fourth installment in the Harry Potter series, The Goblet of Fire. That's probably my gut answer to that.
Very cool. What is your least favorite book?
Oh gosh, why would you? Okay, I got to make sure I don't know the author when I give no.
And it's, again, back to the topic on the previous podcast. You don't have to love every single book.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah,
it's so true. Oh gosh, that is such a good one. Okay, let me think here. It's probably going to be a book that wasn't in the genre that I typically like to read. Okay. Oh gosh, this kills me to say this. Okay, here can I like caveat it with something? Can I?
It's your podcast. Caveat away.
Okay. It's not my least favorite book of all time. It's the book that I read recently that I liked the least. Yeah, you can tell you're killing me with this question. It's
like how to backpedal away from the book.
I know. Gosh. I've
PC, man. PC.
I'm so far backpedaled. I'm out the door in the
Yeah.
front yard. I'm just gone.
No,
Okay.
Sunny
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
It's okay. So it's a very slim novel. It was translated from Japanese. It's called Territory of Light. It's a very it's basically just like this little vignette or this portrait of this recently divorced mother living with her child in an apartment. And I just like, I wanted to love it, but I just felt like it was just very meandering, very slow, and I just couldn't ever get into it. So Territory of Light is my answer. Ah.
Okay, you did it. You made it through. That's okay. Deep breaths. You'll be fine. What is your what do you feel somebody took a book and made it into a movie or a TV show and they did a really good job of it?
Oh, that's really good. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is kind of cheating. No. Screw it. I'm gonna do this one. Screw it. Hulu did a limited series on John Green's Looking for Alaska a couple of years ago. And it's one of those rare adaptations that took lots of creative liberties with the source material. And instead of it being to the show's detriment, it actually elevated the source material. So I would highly recommend anyone who's listening to this, if you like John Green, if you like YA, young adult, go watch Looking for Alaska on Hulu.
Very cool. Now the opposite. Where did they take a book and whatever they did with it was terrible?
This one's I think a no-brainer. I'm definitely not on an island on this one. But there was a middle grade fantasy that came out a number of years ago called Aragon. Yes, the story of Aragon. It was like a 4-part epic series. The movie is awful. It's just terrible. And it's unfortunate because it had so many good things going for it, like John Malkovich as the villain. Like a fantasy with John Malkovich as the villain, as the Darth Vader of the story. Yes, please. And yet it's just not good. So definitely the Aragon adaptation.
Agreed. Danielle, do you have a question, my friend?
You've discussed your writing process, but is there one thing you have to have when you write? Is it a lucky pen? Is it a notebook? Do you have to have something with you for good luck?
So this one it's not a must-have. I definitely have it with me when I'm writing at home. It's difficult to take it to coffee shops, but a candle or some kind of like essential oils diffuser or whatever. I love having that scent and having that that sort of, that I just love that sense being triggered. If I feel like it triggers inspiration. So that's super corny, but I love a good candle. I love a good candle.
Is there a scent that you enjoy the most? Like you go for, or is it anything?
I really like pine. I love pine. I love like, timber wood, like, kind of, forest-y kind of scents. That's definitely what the kinds of, candles that I gravitate toward.
Very cool. What about if you could be any mythical or paranormal creature, what would you be and why?
Oh, minotaurs are cool. They're very like menacing and like, they command like a scene. Like I just introduced my kiddos to actually this was another example of could have been another answer for bad movie adaptation. But the Chronicles of Narnia came out like 6 or 7 years ago. Yep. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It wasn't awful, but it just wasn't that good. It's kind of forgettable. But I love the Minotaurs in that. They've got these really cool axes, and they're wearing armor. They're armor clad, and they just look really cool. I don't know. I just like how they look.
We have not had that answer before. That somebody wants to be a Minotaur. So very cool.
That's a good one.
There's a first for everything.
You said I introduced my kids. I was like, is he going to say Percy Jackson? Because I don't think I want to be one of those.
I thought we were going Percy Jackson too for a second. I was like, I think we're going Percy, but maybe not.
Do you guys have
I
strong feelings about that series?
No, I think Percy Jackson, I actually don't think they did horrible with it. Obviously, they went older with it. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the TV show version of it,
Yeah.
because they're taking on a younger person. And I kind of get why they went a little bit older with it, but that's a different topic. More the Minotaur, because I was trying to think where Minotaurs were placed, especially because you're a huge fan of young adult. And I'm like, where is he getting the Minotaurs? Because I play Dungeons and Dragons, and Minotaurs are a completely different thing when you are in some of these worlds. And you look at like Percy Jackson, that's not a pleasant experience. That's a monster, like full-on monster. And I was like, where's he going with this? Like,
it's a weird. It's admittedly a weird answer, but I just think they're so cool looking. I don't know.
No, I like it. Okay. What about if you could be the lead character in any story, but you have to live their life? Meaning you don't get to choose to be, Superman without being abandoned as a child in Kryptonite, blah, blah, blah. Like you have to live their entire story. Who would you be?
Gosh. I think I mentioned this in the other podcast, but I think it would probably be Quentin Coldwater from the Magicians trilogy. I really am. I loved his arc in that trilogy. I love that series so much. And the show isn't half bad. Yeah.
No, the show was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say probably Quentin's story. I just like the angsty college-aged kid, who's obsessed with fantasy and then ends up getting into a fantasy college or whatever. It's a really cool story. So probably Quentin. He's got a cool story.
Who would you choose as a sidekick? And it doesn't have to be Quentin's sidekick. Who would you choose to be your sidekick?
Oh, who would be my sidekick or who?
No, who would be your sidekick in life? If you could choose any sidekick from a book.
Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. Oh my gosh, she's book smart, she's brilliant, she's witty, she's sharp. Like she gets Harry and Ron out of so many binds, out of so many pickles. Hermione. That's Hermione.
Me and my boyfriend like to sometimes sit and watch like all the movies in a series, like just sit down and binge them. And we create drinking games with them. We're whiskey drinkers. You made butterbeer, alcoholic butterbeer for this particular binge. Don't do that, by the way. If you're binging, it's okay. It's just like a drink, but it is way too sweet to binge, just for the record. But we were like, okay, what do we base this on? We looked up some online and I was like, how about every time Hermione saves them? Yeah. By movie 2, we had to change what we were doing because that's all that happens, like over and over and over. Yes. And I was like,
I've never seen Harry Potter.
Oh, Danielle.
I've never read them. I've never seen them.
Danielle.
I know. I feel like I'm committing some like author sin here, some fantasy sin. But no, no.
Are great. The movies are really well done, and the cast stays consistent throughout.
Yeah.
Besides Dumbledore, who unfortunately the actor passed away
during
and whatever.
That was supposed to be Robin Williams.
No.
What?
Okay, so here, all right. Now I'm gonna drop a little gossip right now, a little tea. Okay, so Dumbledore was supposed to be Robin Williams. He was actually at the table, ready to sign, and that's when J.K. went in and went, no. In my contract, it stated that the entire cast must be British. So this is a pass. And she went in and actually flexed her muscles and said, no. And Robin Williams got up and exited. But he was the original Dumbledore and he was supposed to play him. But in her contract, it stated that the entire cast must be British. And so they had to pass on him.
In a very, I think, positive way, would have changed the kind of tone of the way Dumbledore came across. Because I have to say, in the books, he's much more like that than the characters that play in the movie. You haven't read the book, I know, but he is much more cheeky than he comes across in the movies. He's much more serious in the movies.
Yes.
So that was my knowledge drop.
In the movies, it's almost like their direction was like, you know what Ian did with Gandalf. Just do that. you know, or, you know,
Oh,
you were like more sage and more wise, you know, which is fine, but like, you're absolutely right. He's far more, he's cheeky, he's witty, he's, you know,
yeah. He wanted to play him, was at the table, ready to go,
gosh,
and they
that's
felt
so
that would have been the
wild.
first. That was the first signing for the cast. Would have been
That's wild.
Robin Williams, and she said no,
Wow.
and flexed her muscles on that. So that's all I can add to the Harry Potter conversation. Sorry, guys.
Right,
That's all I got.
That's mind blowing. Okay. Next question. What is your favorite weird food combination?
Oh, weird combination. Okay, this is weird. This is very weird. Growing up, there was a dish that my mom would make when we were kids. It was Mexican rice with chopped up bananas. And she would, and we would have those in bowls, and that wasn't a meal, that was more like a snack. But we would have Mexican rice with chopped up bananas, and it sounds
not plantains, bananas.
not plantains,
Yeah.
bananas. It sounds repulsive, but there's, even as we're talking about it, I can clearly, like, I can taste it right now, and there's just something nostalgic about it. Now, I'm not going to introduce that to my kids, but it's a nice, fun thing to like remember, and it's nostalgic. That's probably at the top of the weird food combo list.
So
I'm sure.
Yeah.
C.R. Rice, who does co-hosting with me, are making a list of all these weird foods people are telling us. And one day we're going to sit down and just try them all.
That's a great
I'm
idea.
going to record it, called the Weird Food Episode, but I will have to tell her about the bananas and Mexican rice so that she adds that to our list immediately. And we're going to, and was it warm? I need to understand.
Yes.
It's warm.
The rice was warm, the banana was room temperature.
Oh gosh, okay.
All you, Erica.
Yeah, no, that's what we're gonna do. That's what
Sorry
we're
in
gonna
advance.
do.
I feel like
you
I
know
need
what?
to just
I'll be
apologize.
there for filming, though.
There you go.
I'll be behind the camera on that one.
There you go.
Wow. Okay, Danielle, you have to go next.
Yeah. If there's one fantasy world you could visit, book or movie, where would it be?
Oh gosh, this is such a cliche answer, but the Shire. I love the book The Hobbit, and I love the movies of the Lord. Now, full confession, I haven't read Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, or Return of the King. I've read The Hobbit multiple times and seen the movies, obviously, but the Shire just looks so magical. And they're all about
Shire in the Hobbit, not the Shire in the Return of the King, because
yes,
the movies
Definitely
don't cover what happens in the book, so
it's a little different.
Isn't there a flash forward or a vision of the Shire being like overtaken
it is
in Return of the King?
Yeah.
No, I mean in Return of the King.
But I think there's
they,
a vision.
like
there's
a dream
vision,
sequence?
but there's not. They let Wormtongue go, and he's the one that ends up in the Shire doing bad stuff.
Yeah.
So there is. I mean, they recover it, but he does go there after stuff. So, okay. What was my? Oh, what do you feel like as a writer is something that you do that your editor goes, "What are you doing?" Like, we all have things that we do. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good one. I have characters deadpan a lot, and I feel like if you were to do like a Control F in my manuscripts, there would be far too many. This character deadpanned. This character deadpan. Like I love dry humor, and I love characters, you know, giving a response deadpanned. And so that's my editor has had to really just kind of rein that in a lot. But I've heard other authors specifically with deadpan, for whatever reason, that's a fun like visual device, because you can like when you're reading that, a character deadpans a line of dialogue or something, or just deadpans, you see that immediately. You know what they're doing. They're giving an expressionless, you know, almost kind of like really kind of look. And so I love that. And so that has to get reined in a lot.
No,
My use deadpan.
That's okay. I think we all have these little things that we do that
Yeah.
that editors are like, what are you doing? I know some authors that can't pick a tense to save their lives, no matter how much you go over it with them. They're like,
Oh,
present tense, past tense, present, past.
yeah.
Like, just choose one way or the other. That
Some of us think it makes us interesting when we do that, and just saying,
that's not the words the editors use when they don't
Yeah.
use it.
Oh, that's good.
Okay,
Didn't
Danielle,
know.
over to you, my friend.
Is there an animal? We know that you like the minotaurs, but is there another animal that you consider your spirit animal? It can be real or mythical.
Yeah. So we've always had cats. Growing up, we had multiple cats as a kid in our house, rescues. We have a cat now. Her name's Mandy. I thought maybe she would make an appearance, but she's not yet made one. But cats, I mean, gosh, they have so much depth and so much character to them. Like dogs are so great because their love is unconditional, but cats very much there's like, you kind of have to earn it. And there's just this, like, I don't know, they sleep so much, and doesn't that just sound nice? I love cats. I love cats. Cats would be my answer.
My cats are all assholes, so my cats are not like earn the love. They're like, oh, you're still here. And then when I leave them for a couple days, they're like, well, where were you? And I'm like, I'm sorry, do you just need to like account for me during the day? Because they will literally come and scream at me, and I'm like, what? And they're like, I don't know where you were for 3 days, but you were not here. And I'm like, your food is an automatic feeder. Nothing changed. Like, you weren't without. They're like, yeah, but we just need to be able to walk in the room, look at you every now and then leave. And I'm like, that's my cats. That's the sum up of my horrible, ridiculous, terrible felines.
I love it.
Okay, so what is on your anti-bucket list? Meaning, you will never do this again.
Oh, does it have to be I'll never do this again, or I'll never do it like ever? Like I'll never touch that? Or is it like it has to be something I've already done?
Well, I guess it could be either. It's your show. And then I'm going to give Danielle the final question. So prep the final question, Danielle.
Got it.
Okay.
What is something that you have done, or you go, nope, never going to do that?
Yeah. That I think that's easier to answer for me. I don't think I'll ever do or touch like gory, like really graphic, like horror genre in writing. I don't. It's not what I typically read, and so I don't know if I would be able to get in that sort of mindset, that mind place, that headspace rather, of being able to like go there. Like the farthest I can even go there is like, I'm sure you guys remember the show Dexter. That was and that's based on a book as well. But I loved Dexter. I consumed it. But there were episodes where they would go some dark places.
Yeah.
And so as a writer, I just don't know that I could ever go like into the mind of like a serial killer and just do something like super, super dark in my story.
Write a serial killer series.
Do you?
I was just, as I was laughing, I was like, oh.
Danielle's like looking, going, no, that's what I write. I write, and it doesn't have happy endings. So,
and I'm sure you do it incredibly well and incredibly effective. I just couldn't. Somebody would be able to see right through it if I attempted that genre.
It goes very dark. Trust me. I make jokes about my search history all the time because
yeah, if
I'm
the
sure
FBI
I'm on
ever
watch list at this
confiscated it.
point. Like absolutely on watch list. I'm sure there could be somebody even watching my house going, she's going to kill people in her basement.
Incognito mode. You just got to use incognito mode. There you go. That's
that, or they're just like, it's Erica again. Don't worry about it.
That's okay. I have my friend and my boyfriend all lined up to take my books into the police station when it comes up to go.
Oh my gosh.
No, she's an author.
I promise.
Although I don't know if you saw this, but there was a woman who wrote a book about killing. The lead character kills her husband in the book, and this woman killed her husband.
Yep.
The same way it's done in the book. So she.
Duh.
I was like, my boyfriend found this and he sent it to me and he's like, don't get any ideas. And I'm like, listen, I understand how the degrees of separation work. I understand how forensic works.
Oh God.
If you're gonna die, it's gonna be because we go on a road trip to the canyon without your cell phone, and that's how that's gonna happen, because otherwise you get caught. People are dumb.
It's funny though, like as you were talking, it just reminded me, I did have a fun concept for a YA thriller where basically like the hook is, how do you commit a murder with the entire world watching? And so the premise is there's like these 8 or 9 teens, and I drew inspiration from the show Big Brother, where 12 strangers are in a house for 3 months and the last contestant standing wins $500,000. Well, what if there was a murder committed on one of those shows where there's live feeds, everybody's constantly watching? How could you possibly get away with that? And so that was sort of the hook. So if I ever do explore that story, I may have to tap you, Erica, for some tips.
The thing is that's interesting is because I watch a lot of true crime and I read a lot of stuff, and I go down very dark. If you ever read my stuff, which it doesn't sound like it's your kind of thing, it goes very dark. I go very dark because I also think there's a lot of horror writers that don't kind of go past that one threshold of being like, I always, when I've read my stories aloud, or I've been fortunate to have some actors read my stories aloud, I really like it when the audience is like, what the hell just happened? Or is uncomfortable, because I like hitting that level of horror where you're actually uncomfortable because of what you're reading, not because it's gory, but because it hits that closer.
There's a visceral
reaction. Yeah, there's so much true crime stuff that happens. Like there's a new series or a new documentary on Netflix, something about the girl. I forget it. The girl in the picture. Right?
Not Plainville. Not the girl from Plainville. That's on Hulu, right?
No, it's the girl in the picture, I think is what it's called. Maybe. No. And it's like this horrible story of this girl who is basically I'll give it away if I tell the ending, but like when you get to the end and you find out where she was from and her true history, it's horrific. And you would never think something like this
I know
could happen. Yeah. Right?
I know which one. Yes. Yes. Now
I don't want to give away the ending.
No, you can't. You can't. Yeah.
You can't. And it's a true story. And if I wrote that as a book, people would go, no, come on. But it happens. It's amazing how stuff happens in real life that if you put it in fiction, people wouldn't buy it. They'd say, oh, that would never happen. But it does.
Yeah, that's so interesting. You know what you just reminded me of too? I've been watching, I'm really late to this party. I'm sure you guys are all over it. There's a phenomenal show that was on ABC for years called Castle.
Oh yeah.
I love Castle.
It's so good. It is so good. I'm on the 3rd season, halfway through, and I love it so much.
Nathan Fillion, love him.
He's great. He's so good. You've seen it then, Erica?
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion. I love Nathan Fillion. And almost everything, I feel like he just shows up and contributes to it.
Oh yeah, he elevates it.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite characters on the Santa Clara Diet. When she kills him, he's just a head.
He's in that?
He was Joey on One Life to Live is where he started.
Yeah, no, he's in the Santa Clara Diet. He's a competing realtor, and Drew Barrymore's character eats him because she's a zombie. But he ends up, his head is still talking, so he ends up working for them, doing deals over the phone with his head on the base.
I need to see this show.
Terrible.
It's phenomenal.
It is.
Okay, that's on my watch. That just bumped up on my watch list.
And it's horror, but it's not very gory. It's not dark horror. It's like comedic horror.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's dark comedy.
Yeah, dark comedy, really.
Okay, I'm definitely looking that up.
Okay, Danielle, you get the final question, my friend.
Okay, if you had to come face to face with one of these 3 things, which would it be? The Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, or a UFO?
Not UFO. We'll cross that off. Heck no.
Okay.
That's no. Loch Ness water scared, like just the unknown of water and depth that like unsettles me already. Bigfoot, gosh, Bigfoot probably. Yeah, Bigfoot. That's a great question.
That is a phenomenal question. And,
I think Bigfoot.
I've been watching so much on cryptids. Mark Muncy, who is sometimes a co-host, but he's an author. He does these books called Erie, Florida. He just did Erie, Appalachia, which goes over Bigfoot and the Mothman and stuff like that. And what he does is he finds these folk tales and he traces them all the way back to where they originated. Where did they start? And he doesn't do it to debunk them, but he goes, what caused this to
the genesis?
And again, that's where I learned there are some things in fiction that are, I mean, some things in real life that are not as bad as fiction. Like some of the things that he discovers are kind of, you know, gross. And so but yeah, he does a whole thing on Bigfoot, but it's really interesting.
That's interesting.
Apparently Bigfoot smells really bad.
There's the skunk man is Bigfoot is another version, like another telling of Bigfoot is skunk man, because Bigfoot smells bad.
Really bad.
Yes.
Apparently that's one of the ways you can tell he's close is
the stench.
Yes.
Gosh, that's awesome.
So
what a great detail.
Yes. So you're going to have a stinky encounter. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah, just be ready. Remember, you said no to UFOs and Loch Ness. So
that's true.
You're stuck with the stinky Bigfoot.
Yeah, you might want to go back to something else.
Oh my gosh.
Shameless self-promotion time. Talk about your books and how to find you on social media and stuff.
Yeah. First of all, thank you guys so much for having me. I love this format. You guys have both been incredibly delightful. So thank you so much for having me having me be a part of this. It's been awesome.
You're absolutely welcome. You've been so much fun.
Well, thank you. The Memory Index is the name of my book. And you can find me on Instagram at Julian Ray Vaca, JulianRayV as in Victor, ACA. And you can connect with me online at julianrayvaca.com.
And he's going to have a newsletter you can subscribe to so that you can get all the updates on what's happening.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Awesome. So thank you again for being here. This has been Drinking with Authors, the Literary Briefs edition. My amazing co-host has been Danielle, the Fairy Queen Orsino. Do you see how I worked that all together like that?
That was beautiful.
Our guest has been Julian Vaca, and we will see you guys next time.
Like and subscribe.